WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. The Orioles taking on the Royals, and of course off to Canada this weekend, and the Ravens back out on the field on Tuesday. We were out there with Luke Jones. You can hear comments from Coach Harbaugh as well as a bunch of Ravens players out in the Buy a Toyota audio vault right now. Of course, we've been examining all things Ali this week. Imagine that here in sports media, but I have found the conversations to be incredibly compelling and incredibly different, everyone with different stories. But I got a guy here who writes for Business Insider in the sports page and posted up the 50 most dominant athletes alive, the people that are still left and doing it. And I would have said that Ali would have been number one at the top of all of that. Many would tell you the most famous man on earth, and I think there's an argument for maybe LeBron James or Tiger Woods or various soccer players at this point. But he has put this list together. He is Scott Davis. We welcome him in from Business Insider, and you can also follow his work out on Twitter as well as at W Scott Davison. When he's not writing things like that, he's watching the NBA. Right, Scott? What's going on, man?
That's correct. Thank you for having me on.
I hope you're doing better than the Cavaliers, right?
I am doing much better than the Cavaliers. Thank you for asking.
Alive and well. So, you put this list together of the 50 most dominant athletes alive. Give me a little background on this. I mean, I always ask this. I'm a writer. I write books and stuff. The idea that comes to you to make a list and then to really go through it and make for a hell of an argument for like 2 or 3 days here in sports radio now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a list that we had done last year, too. And then it was coming up at about a year, like an anniversary, I guess you could say, of doing it. We decided to run another one. And so the sports team here at BI kind of assembled a giant list of athletes across basically all sports, not only the 4 big ones in America, but...
and I must say these are current athletes, right? These are athletes still on the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't include Michael Jordan or the former Muhammad Ali or any of that?
That's right. We kind of wanted to stick with something current, especially because we were updating the list that we made last year. And so it was pretty driven by accomplishments over the last year or 2 years, or I guess if you're talking Olympics, we considered the 2012 Olympics as well.
All right, so, make the argument in the top 5 as to where the top 5 is. Where's LeBron? Where's Tiger Woods? Where's Jordan Spieth? Where's any number of soccer players, including Messi, who I am trying to go see play soccer while he's on this continent in the next couple of weeks?
For sure. I don't have the actual list in front of me, but I do know we landed at Novak Djokovic, number 1. And feeling pretty good about that pick, considering he just wrapped up the French Open this past weekend.
At least you picked a winner.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and this is dominance within his own sport, that nobody can beat this guy, right?
Correct, yeah. I mean, there's really, right now and basically over the last 2 years, he's been unparalleled. Number 2, I think we landed on Katie Ledecky, the swimmer. She basically broke out in the 2012 Olympics when she was 15, I think. And since she's winning all kinds of world records and has dominated basically every event she's in, swimming, and we figure at the Olympics this year she'll probably take home most of the medals, if not the gold medals and everything she swims in.
Yeah, I think the prediction's 4, is from what I've heard. I had Dave Shinan on from the Washington Post. He's going down to Rio. That's the word. She'll be the biggest star of the summer, right? She should own Rio, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she has. I think it's 800-meter freestyle. You correct me if I'm wrong. But I think she has the top 3 times. Like, she just keeps beating her own record. So she's extremely dominant in what she's doing, and she's like 19 years old. Stephen Curry was number 3. I think his work speaks for itself. We wanted to make the argument that he's surpassed LeBron James as best player in the NBA this year. And so far, he's not having maybe as strong of a finals, but he's certainly the best player on his team. He's the reigning MVP, the first ever unanimous MVP. So we felt good about that one. Breanna Stewart from UConn, best player in women's college basketball by a long stretch. Her team dominated. They have like the longest winning streak in sports. Number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. And I don't know if you have the list in front of me. I'm drawing a blank on who.
Well, you got
number 5 was.
Messier in here. You've got Serena. You got Simone Biles. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Breanna Stewart was also here. Fascinating. There's some local people in here, some Baltimore people. Michael Phelps would be one of them. And I guess if you're talking 50 most dominant athletes alive, you may have had a decade where he would have been, if not number 1, number 2 or 3. I don't know how you could drop him lower than that. He never lost a race for a long time, for 12 years, right?
Yeah, definitely. And he would have been number 1 if, say, we're making this in September if his career had continued the way it has been. The only reason we actually had him a little bit lower, I think he might have been the 20s or 30s, simply because he had taken a few years off and then he returned this past winter and swam well, but it was such a short amount of time that we're like, we dropped him a little bit low over some people that have had, I guess, more experience over the past year or two.
Well, you got Messi at 6. You got Serena Williams at 7 across sports. You've dropped LeBron to 8. Clarissa Shields at 9. And a lot of women on this list as well. I find it fascinating, and I think everyone here would laugh. Jake Arrieta was this failed fifth starter guy in an Oriole uniform, and now he goes to Chicago, and he's making these kinds of lists. It's really kind of amazing, man.
Yeah, definitely. He's a success story, and obviously right now he's on a great team. It was a tough debate between him and Kershaw at the time. Arrieta was doing a little better, so we went with him. But we tried to cover. It's obvious who the best guys in like the biggest sports are. You can name a million quarterbacks or NBA players and stuff, but we did try to expand and get people from sports you might not hear about or talk about as much.
Certainly check it out. We're going to tweet it out. It is the 50 most dominant athletes alive. Business Insider is the website, and authored by Scott Davis, who's on the line with us right now. You can follow his journey at Scott Davis out on Twitter. Scott, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a little NBA with you, to where we are at this point in it. Look, everybody's betting against the Warriors in the OKC series. Everyone had declared them dead. I don't find it shocking to see what they've done here over the last week and a half, because I think we all watched them play in the regular season. And 73 wins means you're probably capable of going a week and a half or two against the best competition and never losing. They might not lose at all.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And it is funny that we paint the Cavaliers' struggles in this series as like a failure for the Cavaliers. I mean, they're playing what could possibly be the greatest NBA team in history, right? If they won the most regular season games and they wrap up the title in pretty convincing fashion so far, you can make an argument. So, yeah, the Cavaliers have not looked good and the Warriors have looked really good. But it's nothing against the Cavaliers. They are a good team too, but they're running into maybe one of the best teams ever.
Or as my pal said to me the other night, God hates Cleveland.
Yeah, hey, they're healthy this year, right? I mean, maybe you could have made that argument last year, but they came in healthy. They've got a deep, talented team, and I think, to be honest, they've just run into a team that they do not match up well with, and the Warriors are finally looking healthy. And they haven't even gotten the best performance out of like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson yet. I think they have another level to go to. And I mean, Cleveland's a good team. I just don't know if they match up well enough with them. But I guess we can't write them. Can't write them off yet. It's only 2-0.
I got about 2 handfuls of Knicks fans, and my standard line is why. I mean, what keeps you engaged with the New York Knicks at this point, Scott Davis? Jeff Hornacek, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a choice. I've been a Knicks fan all my life. I've seen a couple of good years, I guess. There's a way heavier side of bad years. But, each year they show something promising and you get your hopes up. And right now it's about as promising as it's ever been. Kristaps Porzingis, I think I speak for all Knicks fans when we believe he's something special.
Well, time will tell. I really appreciate you coming on. We're going to send everybody out to Business Insider to read your work, as well as out on your Twitter at WScottDavis. Great having you on, Scott. Thanks for joining us, pal.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good day.
You got it. Scott Davis joining us here from Business Insider. You can go check out his work and his list of the 50 most dominant athletes alive. Good conversation, good cocktail party starter for you, especially if you know who Slovak cyclists are and that sort of thing, because it isn't just about baseball and football and sort of American sports. It's going all over the world. Good piece there. Great to have Scott aboard. You can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device, or you can download download the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear, loud and clear wherever you are. And if you miss anything, the morning newspaper delivers it free to your email inbox at 7 a.m. each and every morning. And that is powered up by our friends at Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Last but never least, breaking news happens first on your WNST Tech service. That is brought to you by our friends at Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis is here on Thursday, driving you home from 3 until 5, and no doubt talking some Ali here, as well as some mandatory camp next week for the Ravens. Anybody's out and about this weekend, I'll be signing copies of both of my books, Purple Rain 1 and 2, at the Black-Eyed Susan in Glendon this Saturday from 11:30 to 2. Come hungry for chocolate, dark chocolate. I know I'm into that, a little chocolate-covered pretzels or some peanuts or some Raisinets, something like that going on. But you can learn more by emailing me, nasty at WNST.net. I'm also out on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere you are, we are. WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Taos in Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate your time, man.